Okay, this is April, whatever, fly tying night tonight. Got rods, more rods, more rods. People coming? Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. We're not online tonight, but I'm recording.
You just called me.
So David's going to teach us how to tie a fly.
You did? Oh, okay, that was a butt call. That's a butt.
If you're
you said a ring and a code. Right. Was it wrong with it or?
all right, Fernando, the man of the night.
No, I haven't had a thing.
Man with the picadillo.
Fernando. So I remember you.
Yes, sir. Say hello. Good morning. Good morning. All right.
Good afternoon.
Nice to get a good start. An early start. Louis working hard. David's setup.
He said X. So I got to put his phone number in. Where's the guy? No lines, no fish. Making note, taking the info down. Every single one. They're 20.
That's the way to go. If you're going for toothy stuff, you can use a little knife here. Same way. So that's the fly. Anyone who wants to learn how to tie one, we have 4 vices. Come join me. Now there are variations, so I brought some other Clousers, and I think Carlos has a few. You can do ones with lots of flash, big eyes. You can do them all different colors, all different sizes. You can vary the bucktail from purple. I mean, the tarpons really love the purples and the blacks. A good rule of thumb is you use the whites in the daytime for most snooks and fish, and you use the dark ones at night. Or lighter ones in light conditions being very bright, darker ones in conditions being very dark. So that's really useful for that. You could throw them a mile because they're not very fluffy flies. Because let's show us some of those flies that we have. So these flies are very streamlined. So you could take anything from a 5 weight up to a 10 weight and match the fly size to what you're throwing, and it's a lot. So those are big. I was going to just show this. So this fly, you need a really heavy fly rod to throw something like that. You need a 8 or 9 or 10. This thing you could throw, you could size it down and get it anywhere. And the key thing is if you're going for a lot of the fish we go for in the mangroves, is throwing it sidearm under the mangroves, getting it really close to the shore. They're not weedless, but they don't pick up a lot, right? I mean, you could throw them in lily pads, you could throw them up near the mangroves. You're not going to get caught too much. I mean, I don't know anyone has put a weedless. You could put a little weedless piece of mono or metal here, but it's not necessary. They're pretty small hooks, and most of the bucktail. So the bucktail material is very good. It spreads, it dries easily, and it makes a lot of turbulence. So the fish sees the eyes, they see the dark top, the white bottom, and there's also this little bit of flash in the middle that looks like scales, and it looks like the middle of the fish. So it's a perfect fly. Bob Clouser invented this fly, and it's like one of the most popular ever. Any questions?
When did he invent that? Do you know? What year?
1956.
Was it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I knew you would know.
How much of that cost to be made?
You can buy them in most fly shops for between $2 and $4. But to make I mean, it costs a couple bucks for this stuff, and we can make hundreds of these for almost nothing. Probably the hooks and the eyes are the most expensive things to purchase. So depending whether you're going to get, you could use simple lead eyes that are dark or black or natural lead, or you can get the painted eyes in any color, in chartreuse, in white, in red, in different sizes. So the key things I was telling Lewis here, who just learned to tie his first Clouser, which is great, is you want to make sure that you need to trim it a little bit. Okay. Here.
That was good.
Yeah, the flash needs to be within it.
Beautiful.
Right. So you size
There you
you size the fly. Good job. To the hook size in the eye. So you don't want to have it just go down like this. You want to have it just float down like natural, and then you want to jig it up so it looks alive. That's what you want to do. So the key thing, as I was telling Lewis, is match the hatch. If they're reading pilchards, you want one of these like maybe all white with a lot of silver in it, and look like a pilchard. If it's mullet, maybe a little bit bigger one, and maybe a little bit gray on the top. You know, depend what you want to make it look like, and what time of the year you're throwing it. That's the key. Keeping it simple. So there's lots of books. You know, I got this one. I sent everyone the PDF from this one. Ed Jaworski, who's a famous fly guy who does a lot of stuff for striped bass and stuff that has big surf candy and a lot of these things over here, these flies. Let's see, look at that. And they're easy instructions. I have a couple instructions over here printed out. And of course, Lefty Cree has a book. I was going to say one thing about when you see what's in the fly, they do what's a recipe. And the recipe, it's pretty simple. It tells you exactly the materials you need, and it puts an order of how you tie the fly. So how they list the recipe is you tie this thing first, you tie that thing next, and that's what you do. Most people like to learn how to tie the fly in the original size, the original colors, but then there's all sorts of variations. So that, you know, if you tie the original ones, you'll be tried and true. You know, and that's, you start with that and you go from there. Material is very inexpensive. You can get started, as I was saying, you know, with a vise and a little basic set of $50 or so from Bass Pro. They have the whole thing together. The fly rods can be anywhere from $100 to thousands of bucks, depending on what quality you want. So pretty simple.
It's like any hobby. It's very expensive, very fast.
This is a fraction of what I have.
You get really
I have boxes and boxes of fly. So I wish I could have caught as many fish as you tied up flies. They do wear, you know, you do get a lot of bites. They wear those flies down. I think the best experience is to go to a place where there's a lot of easy targets. Like I go to Louisiana if I want to catch redfish with a guide. You know, puts you in front of 10 or 15 redfish, and you're seeing them. You're hunting, so it's not blind casting. You're hunting for them. You're putting the fly in front of their nose. That's the end to eat from. That's where you want to put it. That's where you want to be for redfish and trout. You go to the Bahamas or maybe some areas that the bonefish are very heavy. If you want to learn bone fishing, you know, you get big schools of them, and it gets easy once you learn to do some casting. Freshwater stuff, that's a little bit different. The saltwater versus the freshwater, because the freshwater, you just cast to where you think the trout are going to be in the stream, behind a rock over here, and when you get the little, you see the bobber go down, you lift the rod up. Well, that's not how we do it in saltwater fishing. We do what's called strip striking. So we cast, we put it where we want to, we bring it in with our other hand, keeping our fingers wrapped around the line, and as soon as you feel the weight of the fish biting, you pull it. You pull the line so the hook sets into their mouth. You never lift the rod because that will move the fly away from the fish. You won't catch a fish then. So it's a little bit different. You've got to be very fast with saltwater. With saltwater, you see the fish, you have a few seconds to react. You have to have your line ready and ready to cast. So that's the difference. Freshwater, it's much more relaxing, gentleman's sport, I would say. It's, you know, it's easier in a lot of senses. A lot of people who learn saltwater first have no problem going to freshwater. We can cast a mile compared to the freshwater. When the freshwater guys come out here, they don't know what they're doing, you know, with saltwater. So this is the best place to learn. And learning in the canals to catch the Oscars and the bass, it's a great place to learn. Start with a 5-weight rod, which is a smaller rod than these rods. you can learn it there and then just take it out to your flat scoop boat and catch loads of things. If you're on the flats at Snakepike, you know, you're seeing the fish there, you should be able to get one or two of them to bite. It's sometimes more frustrating to do fly fishing, but sometimes you can catch more on fly than you can catch on bait or on artificials. It just depends.
As a general rule,